So this was Times Square in the 1920s.
And this is Times Square right now. I think people in 1920 would have freaked out if they saw this. It's crazy. Yeah, they're different in a lot of ways, but what's the one big glaring difference? Tons more billboards. What some people might consider an outdated medium is actually more popular than ever. And that's not just here, that's all over the US. Just in this country alone, we have over 350,000 billboards. And according to Grandview Research, the global billboard industry is projected to nearly double in revenue by 2030. And that's all thanks to this guy, the digital billboard.
And even though digital billboards are making a ton of cash, they're also the reason for more restrictions and new legislation against billboard advertising nationwide. Yikes. So I wanted to figure out how exactly digital billboards changed the game for the industry. That led me to a deep dive into the history of billboards, the lucrative business of owning a billboard, and the way that several of them can track us to leverage even more of our spending. Yeah. And what initially had me geared up to buy one myself now has me kind of thinking twice. But let me back up for a second, take you through my journey step by step. Newsflash to me, they actually clean these things. Okay, so for my first job in advertising, that's not a joke by the way, I knew that the US billboard industry is part of out-of-home or OOH advertising. And that encompasses, all the ads that you see outside of your home, billboards, buses, transit stations, and even inside malls and airports. The entire US out-of-home advertising market alone was worth almost $9 billion in 2023, with billboards accounting for most of that. And while you definitely can own a billboard, the market is dominated by a handful of major companies. Please meet Lamar Advertising, Clear Channel Outdoor, and Outfront Media. Combined, these three controlled 65% of the market share in the US in 2021. Lamar Advertising, for example, currently owns 363,000 displays across the US and Canada, including 160,000 billboards covering everything from rural highways to urban hotspots. And here's how it works. Billboard owners like Lamar can place their billboards on privately owned land or public property. And Lamar can either buy or lease these spaces. And while leasing is the most common approach for billboard companies and owners, Lamar found a way to keep costs down. And that's by, just buying the land instead. Lamar owns the land under roughly 15% of its billboard structures. And once the location is secured, Lamar sells ad space to brands and businesses. Its net revenue in 2023 was over $2.1 billion, and that's about a 4% increase from its 2022 number. For Lamar, local businesses are the biggest moneymaker, encompassing 78% of its outdoor ad net revenue in 2023. Its focus has traditionally been on static billboards, but in 2001, the company built its first digital billboard. And that investment paid off big time. Lamar made over $562 million from digital billboards last year alone. Modern digital display technology has made it a lot easier to tailor ads to customers and make the ads a lot more dynamic. Some digital billboards even track our movements through our phones. Once your phone is detected near a screen showing a particular ad, an advertising company may follow up by showing you related ads in your social media feed. Sounds rather invasive. Now this is huge for businesses that want to track the impact of their ads. And it's also massive for billboard owners and companies who can cycle ads on digital billboards and attract even more clients to one ad space.
Yeah, so it's no surprise all this new tech is having a major impact on the industry.
In 2023, the number of billboards in the US grew less than 0.8% from 2022. And while that's not really a significant jump in the overall number of billboards, the amount of digital billboards in the US grew by over 40% that year. On paper, there's a lot to gain here. A digital billboard is estimated to generate between $5,000 and $20,000 per month for the owner in an urban, high-traffic area. Comparatively, traditional static billboards average between $1,000 and $10,000 per month in urban areas. Just take a look back at Lamar Advertising. The company massively ramped up its digital presence, capitalizing on these benefits. Of their $2.1 billion net revenue in 2023, 31% came from digital billboard income, which might not seem like much until you realize that Lamar currently only has 4,800 digital billboards. So in a nutshell, about 1.3% of their displays generate 31% of their income. And that's a pretty good margin. But before you get those dollar signs in your eyes and jump in on this opportunity, there's a few things you should know. I'll get to that real soon, but if you want access to an entire hub of lucrative business ideas, you gotta go down download our business idea database, courtesy of our friends at My First Million. In this database, you get access to over 50 hot and ready business ideas from the My First Million podcast archives. There's ideas in there that span across industries from wellness and lifestyle to AI. Some of my favorites in there are creating an AI that analyzes your health records, workout patterns, and sleep schedule to determine some lifestyle and exercise recommendations, and creating educational content to help people financially prepare for buying a home in the current real estate market. I think we all need that. Click the link in the description for full access. So back to the question at hand. Billboards can be super lucrative, but there are two hurdles that could cut your billboard income completely. First, location. Several states have either banned billboards altogether or severely restricted the construction of new ones, especially digital ones. You won't find a single billboard in Vermont, Maine, Alaska, or Hawaii. And that's due to each of those states' commitment to an aesthetically pleasing scenery. Restrictions like this, though, aren't totally new. These location regulations that we're seeing today started in the 1960s, when US President Lyndon B. Johnson's administration created the Highway Beautification Act of 1965, aka the Lady Bird Beauty Bill. This was the industry's first real regulation which limited the number of billboards on American highways. And digital billboards are facing even more problems right now with the second hurdle. Number 2, safety. Safety concerns are growing as some lawmakers and researchers believe that drivers are distracted by a billboard's dynamic display, allegedly leading to more accidents. That's why regions in the US have been clamping down on digital billboards due to concerns and investigations on public safety. Kinda like these.
Supporters of digital billboards say they offer more affordable advertising. Opponents say they're distracting and unsafe.
A digital billboard ban could soon be on the books in Beaver Creek.
A bill passed in the state legislature would prohibit companies from operating digital billboards or other billboards that use flashing, intermittent, or moving lights on the water.
In 2022, the US Supreme Court upheld Austin, Texas's prohibition on digital billboards, ruling that the ban does not infringe on free speech rights. The ban now prevents businesses from converting off-premise billboards into digital displays. City officials argue that the regulation enhances road safety by minimizing driver distractions and preserves the visual integrity of Austin's skyline. This ruling was also upheld in 2023 in a similar case in Madison, Wisconsin, with the judge stating that the presence of overhead signs and banners is bound to cause some drivers to slow down in order to read the sign before passing it.
In 2023, the home of Times Square, New York State even proposed a moratorium on the installation of new digital billboards. And that was to conduct a study on the impact of digital billboards on car accidents.
So yeah, there's always a risk that a billboard investment will not yield the returns predicted. However, if you're looking to invest in this growing industry anyways, there are a few things you should keep in mind to find success. You want to buy a billboard? Okay. Location is key. Location, location, location. Due to the mentioned legal issues, some areas in the US may not be the best markets for digital billboards. You could consider states like Utah, though. Probably still not safe from all pushback, but it has granted special privileges to billboard owners, with local governments rarely able to remove or change any pre-existing billboards. Second, competition is fierce. Independent US out-of-home companies control just 34% of the billboard market, competing for limited revenue. Which sounds like it's hard to break in, but if independent companies make up 34% of the billboard market share, there's gotta be room for you there too. And finally, cost. Digital billboard operating costs like electricity, maintenance, and equipment expenses can make quite a dent in your monthly income. If you do want to get into the business though, your first step is to either lease land to construct a billboard or purchase an already operational one using resources like outdoorbillboard.com or signvalue.com, or you could just find one in your area for sale. Now, with all this in mind, the US digital billboard market may not grow as fast as the global market. Even though the global market is projected to hit nearly $60 billion by 2030, it's possible the US will face some slower growth due to these safety and aesthetic concerns. So if you're thinking about jumping into this industry, be careful about where and how you invest. Regulations could potentially get in the way of what could otherwise be $1 million opportunity. The future of billboards is really bright, but only if you know how to read the signs. If you're itching for more ways to start a business and make some dough, check out our video on the surprisingly profitable industry of gas station pizza. And of course, for more places to start, download our business ideas database. And for more stories like this, subscribe to the Hustle newsletter. The ultimate billboard. Right there. That ass.